All right, welcome back. When I was at the U of I took a class on the 1930s and the New Deal era with a professor by the name of Mark Leff. And Mark Leff was a brilliant, brilliant scholar who researched New Deal tax legislation, and his lectures were fantastic. And so, in talking about any of this, I often and always think of him and realize there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do, his work justice, but I'll give it a try. We cannot, even in this age of anxiety, we cannot begin to fathom how difficult the economy was in 1933 and how to navigate it. The social welfare programs that we have today, we've had since then. The safety nets that we have today, we've had since then. They don't have them in 1933. When FDR is inaugurated in March of 1933, the effort on his part and on the part of the Democratic officials, elected officials, is to accomplish a number of things to try to combat the Great Depression. One, of course, is initial relief for Americans, for those who need it. Now, the effort that they do is, in the form of a number of different pieces of federal legislation. There is economic recovery legislation, and there is an effort on their part to reform the system, to shore it up, to make sure that this kind of thing can't happen again, right? Shore up the system. But, there will be two New Deals. There's a first New Deal beginning in 1933. There's a second New Deal beginning in 1935 as a response to the detractors, the alternative programs proposed for individuals who felt that they were left out from the first New Deal. The first New Deal represents a real activist, real, militant effort on the part of FDR and his administration to support economic recovery. A lot of it's going to be declared unconstitutional in some cases. So you've got the Agricultural Adjustment Act, which is going to pay subsidies to farmers. It's declared unconstitutional. You've got the NRA, which is going to create these code authorities to provide stability and structure for businesses. This is also, it promotes a certain measure of stability within the economic arena, but it's, again, going to be proved unconstitutional. The Schechter Poultry Company case with that is a big deal. You do have lots of infrastructure projects. You've got the creation of the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC. You get lots of works projects at the federal as well as the state level to kind of get things going. Now, you also have the FDIC being created. You have the Emergency Banking Relief Act. You have an effort to provide stability with the banks in the country because many of them will fail. And you've got this personal effort on Roosevelt's part to reach out to the American public using the new medium of the day, using radio. His fireside chats, although he didn't perhaps give as many as what my middle school, junior high teacher would say, he gave enough. He inspired Americans in the sense that even though he was an elite individual, I didn't always feel that way, that he kind of understood that this was a difficult time and that he was with them. Now, the first New Deal and its litany of legislation, again, provides activism, a real effort at combating this, creating new legislation, but it doesn't fix it, right? The New Deal isn't solved, or the Great Depression isn't solved by the New Deal. Unemployment numbers are still very high. And you do have a lot of detractors for many reasons, right? Father Coughlin, his radio show and his anti-Semitism. You've got Huey Long and his Share Wealth program. So by 1935, you're going to have a second New Deal. It's out of this era that we start to get more protections for workers with the Wagner Act. It's out of this era that we start to get, Social Security. And again, this sense that relief needs to be present and clear for more Americans because many were left out in 1933. And there was a sense with the polling that the Democrats did that FDR could be challenged on the left from Senator Long, though Long is he's assassinated around that time. So really, there's a lot going on here, and FDR is cited as a real popular figure for the era of the early 1930s, but there's a lot of positives and negatives. So, thank you very much.